Hey guys, Mac with the Circle, and today we're looking at my Thousand Suns. Now, this is going to be the last of the 3 videos I've been doing for the Thousand Suns. The first one was on a basic list. The second one was on how I mess around playing with lists and creating lists. This one is what I've actually completed for my Thousand Suns. Obviously I'm sinking a few beers right now, so this is a Carlton Draft. Good beer, not a great beer, but I got it for free, so can't complain. Anyway, let's talk actual hobby. So over on the sort of left side here, we have the Zauer card detachment, Chiari subforge, if you will. Whilst over on the right side, sort of like all the armor and infantry, tanks, all that kind of thing. In the armor section, dispersing across the middle of the force. So, it's a lot of points. This is a full-on heresy army. You're talking 8,000-10,000 points comfortably. A lot of that points is not in the troops, it's in the characters, super heavies, and of course, the expensive units that are floating around, such as Castellax, KR, Dreadnoughts, and especially when it comes to things like the Bellator Cult. Legion Terminators aren't too expensive though, believe it or not. So, and another big point sink would be the Primarch. I guess that's a good logical place to start. Now, Magnus I need to slightly rebase to suit the theme of the rest of the army now. So I'll unclip him from the base itself. It's not too bad on this one. It's not as bad as Per Rabo. His one has like 18 parts and it's very bright in this room today, so his weapon, like many of the other commanders' weapons, I've gone for the sort of corroded bronze brass look. As in, I want their weapons to all look like some sort of relics, like an ancient weapon that the Thousand Suns have come across, and that's what they're using. You can go back down. So you can see his base is just that bit wider. I just need to touch up the red and yellow tones on it more and bring it out so that it fits the rest of the force. There's also Amon. Amon was one of the most fun to work on for the army, and I think he looks fantastic. He's of course in a display base. I'll pull it apart here. Simply the side comes out. It's actually pretty cool itself. Lots of hieroglyphs and stuff, and very themey. Very similar to Constantin Veldor's base. And of course the other half of the base there. Some broken Thousand Suns shoulders, some obelisks, you know, all that good stuff. And that's Amon himself. The old rat boy. So, that's Ratman. My Araman, on the other hand, I have 2 Aramans. One's still in the display case, I didn't get it out for today. This one I converted up. So he has the same shoulders, chest, head, cloak and backpack, but he's now got new legs, new arms, and a new weapon. I cut the blade off his old one and attached it to this different spear, which is a Thousand Suns one from the 40k Thousand Suns Sorcerer's box. This way I have a more dynamic miniature than that one that I don't really like that came in the original kit, and this time out, you know, he's very fancy. Did up hieroglyphs on his cloak and stuff, and yeah. Other characters, I have the Thousand Suns Terminator Praetor. Again, same thing as Magnus. He has the sort of bronze blade, so it's supposed to look like a relic. He is quite bright, and in comparison to, say, my Siegebreaker, who is a lot darker. So you'll see there's dark tones, a lot of blacks instead of whites for armor plates. The dark cloak, that kind of thing, because I want the more destructive guys to be in the dark colours, and the more wholesome people to be in the brighter colours. The Primus Medicae is a Emperor's Children Phoenix Terminator with a Grey Knight Narcathium and a Thousand Sons of Chaos helmet. Nice, simple, and I put him in pure white because he's the most pure and wholesome guy in the Force. Another cool one is the Herald / Banner for the army, which is that there. Do forgive me, it's a very bright day today. Probably could have adjusted the camera, but I'm sure you can see that perfectly well. So, oh, by the way, that banner actually does have battle honours from a campaign on it. So that's a real battle honour actually earned in a campaign, which is pretty cool. Looks like kids are playing out the front of the house too. Had a water fight with them earlier. I used boiling water and I won. Anyway, this is the Chaplain of the Force. So the Chaplain obviously has the twin Kopesh blades. One's a Force weapon, one's the Crozius. And he's using the backpack off Amon with the champion body from 30k, a Kennetai Bellator Cult head and arms and weapons, and a crest from the 40k sorcerers. Delegatus is the normal Delegatus. This commander here uses a upgrade head from a different product range, but he's otherwise the Delegatus body with a combat boarding shield attached to him. So I could attach him with like breeches or something like that, and I just run him as whatever I feel like. I don't really use him that often. Other parts of the army. Well, more characters. We have the Master of the Forge with Terminator armor. So the use of greens is sort of an allusion to the Kivar subset Forge world that the Thousand Sons are allied with. All the servo arm on the back that holds the combi bolter I created myself, and the actual rules for Power Fist from the servo arm is why I gave him the Power Fist. The Force weapon he actually used in close combat is of course this staff. He's converted up using bits from the 40k Secatur from Games Workshop and the 30k Praetor. And yeah, nice and simple. I split the Mechanicus symbol and a Prosperine symbol on the back of him and combined them together to create a sort of Prospero cog theme, just because I could. With him is the Conversion Beamer, equipped Tech Marine or Master of the Forge of my choosing. So that's the Mark III Tech Marine body with a Thousand Sons of KM pattern helmet upgrade. The weapon is the Mechanicum Magos. He has like these different weapons. I'll just grab the guy so I can show it. So he has a weapon that mounts this arm. I kept the sort of plasma one on this model, and I put the Conversion Beamer one onto this guy. And the Conversion Beamer ends about that point there. And from that point on, it's actually a heavy bolter that he's holding. I then added the cable that joins it into the rest of his armor and added the augury scanner up on top here. That way, this guy is a lovely, very WYSIWYG miniature. He leads a squad of servitors with missile launchers, which are converted from Mechanicum Servo Automata and missile launchers. These are the underslung missile launchers. I just drilled them out, attached them to the ball joint on the side of their body, and it looks like they carry them. Not the world's greatest conversion by any means, but solved a problem, what miniature to use. Of course, while I'm at it, that is the Zauakard Magos. Technically this is the Kiavar Subfane, but fuck it, you all know what I mean when I say Zauakard. That's our Forge world. And his pimping ride is this bad boy here. The Abeyant from Archmagos Draco Vic, attached to an Onaga Dunecrawler's legs from 40k. Way too big, way too impractical, but it looks fucking cool, and I'm all for the rule of cool. So that's that guy. The Doumitt squad, most recent addition to the army, did the source lighting around like the helmet going from the lenses. May tone it back a little bit, not happy with it entirely, and a little bit more around the sort of power cortex on the back of it. But otherwise I pretty much tried to replicate the scheme in the book with a few alterations to help it translate better to an actual miniature. Same again for the Castellax in the Force. The Castellax I usually run with my Praevian in the Thousand Suns, or I can run them as a troop's choice for the Zauer card if I want to run them separate. But yeah, the idea with these guys was that same thing. The green accents with the white markings going through them, like in the book. I also have Silax, Guardian Automata. Not a very good unit. Stat-wise, rules-wise, the works. They're probably more harm than they are help. But I added them anyway, because I think they look cool. Again, the rule of cool coming to haunt me. Some Thalax from that force. So again, same sort of thing. They've got their icons on the shoulders, and of course a squad number on the other shoulder, which probably doesn't show up too well. I can sort of shade it with my hand. But yeah. And lastly in that little sub-force is Myrmidons. Myrmidon Destructors. Magnetized arms, of course, so I can change out the weapons. In this case it's an IRAD weapon, but I may want to use something else. And I've got the option of it. They're pretty cool Myrmidons. Tim from the Eye of Horus absolutely loves them, wants to make love to them. Me personally though, I could take or leave it. Reading the Castellax, I do have my Praevian consuls. So, yep, cool chaps. This guy has a Force Sword, which is probably the better choice. I'll probably use it as a Force Axe, in all honesty. And the other one has a Power Fist. Last thing from this side is a Knight Atropos. I actually won the Knight at an event and painted it up. I actually painted it up more as a Black Shield, so you see there's a lot of Black Shield iconography all over it from different Black Shield factions. And I treat it as like a freelance knight. Goes around helping out in the heresy, and again a little bit of source lighting inside the weapon, but generally I try and keep things really subtle. Source lighting is not something I like to use a lot of, because I think generally it's very overdone. I use some on like the Thalax as well, on the back of them. You see a lot of people just spray two colours on, they go, yep, that's good enough. No, it's not. It doesn't look right. So, when you do source lighting, you've got to use 3-4 colours. You've got to actually go in hand highlight. You can't just spray it with an airbrush. That's the lazy approach. Alright, for the Thousand Suns themselves, we have Kennetai Bellator Cult. So, these guys are an elite's choice of the Thousand Suns. Incredibly choppy. Apart from Terminators, anything with power armor these guys fight in the heresy, or anything which has like a 3+ or worse save, will die to these guys. They will cut down anything. They'll even cut down a Primarch. I'm confident that my squad of 10 would cut down Angron in a fight. No questions asked. Yeah. Especially if you do what happened with me when I played a game, which was I actually managed to pull off warp speed on them, and they ended up with 7 attacks each, initiative 7, weapon skill 6, strength 4, and it was just carnage. And they were attached to a chaplain as well, that guy in fact. So the poor unit they charged ended up copying like 70 force weapon attacks without force activated, unfortunately. Legion Terminators, made out of the 40k Sekhmet or Scarab Cult. So when they first brought out the 40k Thousand Suns, so I did these guys. And we still didn't get 30k Secatur for a little while after. So glad I have them. I run them as Legion Terminators. This is the Sergeant, has a black helmet and a Combi Plasma. But the rest of the unit runs as normal Legion Terminators, Power Fists, Plasma Blast Guns, that kind of thing. Just the rule of cool. And because they're a veteran unit, I gave them bronze weapons instead of the normal sort of silver weapons. Troops wise, down here we have Legion Breaches. This is the Breacher Sergeant with melter bombs, because I like to run them with melter bombs. I haven't decided on any iconography for the right shoulder yet, but since they're the only breaches I built for the army, it doesn't really matter at this stage. So for those who wonder, Shapeways. Shapeways 3D printing is where I got the shields from. And the arms are actually just the normal bolt gun arms. I just cut the wrist off, or cut them off at the wrist, and attached this to it. Looks perfectly fine in my opinion. Behind that we have Legion Tactical Support Marines with heavy flamers, but if I can get it out, magnetized. So I can give them whatever I like. At the very back corner, not completed yet painting wise, plasma guns. Haven't painted them because I haven't used them, because I haven't wanted to use them, don't need to use them. They're just filling out slots. In front of them we have the Volkites. This is the Volkite Kovarian unit. I have 10 of these bad boys in the army, and they pump out a ridiculously good amount of firepower, which is why I have them. Excellent, excellent heavy support choice for the army. Again, treating them more like an architect weapon, even though they're not. Bronze power systems on the backpack with like all corroded blues and patinas on them. Alright, let's move across the other side of the army now. Castellax Secatur, another recent addition to the force. Again, try to keep it simple with the decals and markings. Did have to slightly slice this decal down. There's like a little spindly flame shape that comes up here on the trim, which interferes with the decal. So cut that down and get a perfect fit. What else? A little cartouche just in here as well on the decals, and of course some source lighting again around the sort of Cyclops eye, and around the sort of power crystal in the back, and in the weapon itself there's like a power crystal. Tried to go for a lot more muted colours on this, except for on the dome. I made a pristine white dome because to me these are a pristine unit. That's fluff I'll talk about another time. Contemptor wise, this one actually has a battle honour from the Siege of Geigenhive on the shoulder. And yeah, pretty cool chap. Magnetized weapons again, so I can swap out the arms for whatever I want, but I generally run them with twin Volkite Kovarians because they're very good at troop suppression, an excellent weapon. Between those two Dreadnoughts and the Volkite Heavy Squad, I can pretty much kill off 70 Feel No Pain, Fearless Militia a turn, so that's why they exist, for horde control. Speaking of more horde control, I have 3, not that I get to use them in games, Mortis Dreadnoughts. These are the Boxnauts, the Castaferum pattern. So with these guys, I've given them all sort of, they've got various hieroglyphs, Nubis markings, Prospero markings, Veteran markings, Legion markings, and all that kind of thing. I tried to treat the sarcophagus as a tomb, like an Egyptian pyramid, so that's why there's like hieroglyphics and cartouches all over these things. Magnetized weapons, of course. This is the missile launcher from on top of the Derrideo. You can buy them separately, so I bought 3 of them on Buy, Swap and Sell, and cut them down and added it to it. I cut out all the crap under the chests in the corners to create these nipple missiles with Cyclone missile launchers. and I can use them as crack missiles, as in the Hunter-Killer, or I can run them as Havoc missile launchers. Either way, my choice. I have a Damocles Command Rhino, which, that's not decals, that's actual paint. So, Siege of Geigenhive Battle Honor, and again, actual paint, and I dropped the antenna off the top. But yeah, painted these real early on. These were the first things painted for the army vehicle-wise, were the 3 tanks. Or sorry, were the 4 rhinos and the 3 tanks. The 3 tanks, of course, tried to go for that sort of ancient weathered war machine look again, so they have the bronze shrouding around the weapon, and the bronze shrouding actually has hieroglyphics running down it and auto copper corrosion patina, which you can't really see too well, but there is you can sort of see the blues and that in there. Real sort of burnishing on the tips of the barrels of the weapon. Again, hand painted iconography and stripes and that on the vehicles. Pretty cool thing. The only real anti-tank the army possesses though, and I didn't paint underneath because I didn't have enough clear red. The rhinos themselves, I've got 3 of them, using a mixture of decals, hand painting, that kind of thing to bring them all to life. Next up, I want to build a bunch of Land Raiders, but that's later down the track. Tactical squads, yep, they're exactly what you think. Tactical Marines with bolt guns, fully Forge World upgraded. Every infantry unit in this army has Forge World helmets and torsos. Then we get to veterans, so the latest batch, these use the backpacks of the missile launchers, the underslung ones, which I think are really cool, and I'm going to start using them a lot more, so looks like I'm going to be buying a lot of missile launchers. And they're armed with Combi Weapons. These are magnetized on, and these are the resin Combi Weapons from Forge World. And he has the 1000 Sons of KR upgrades. Also have a squad of Seekers, or other veterans if I so choose, and these guys are armed with these sort of twin barrel bolt guns with drum magazines. And these guns are from Shapeways as well, for the record. Last unit in the army is the bikes. This is the Outrider Bike Sergeant, and I've used a lot of blacks to accent them, and decals to sort of fill in the empty areas on the bikes. Being the sergeant, he's got the Vexilia on the back just to help him stand out, as well as a Kopesh weapon. Last little thing I want to show off in the army is this alternate Vexilia slash bike, and I can run this as a command squad thanks to this. Obviously, this is one of my favourite things in the army. It's a Col 1 Knights banner with a Vexilia on top with a solid metal pin running through it to make sure it doesn't snap off too easily. That takes us through all the units, and of course there's a Mastodon on the back, and Mastodons are bad and you should never use Mastodons. This is not recast, that is legitimate Mastodon. That's, yeah, most of this army I opened live on this show, so pretty crazy to unbox it all from Forge World on here. A lot of money, a lot of effort, and a lot of time's gone into it. This is a great Heresy army. Not saying it for my own benefit, I mean, like, this is the sort of thing you want to see. A fully painted army with a theme, with a lot of variation in units. Every time I see that, where it's mine, someone else's, it gives me a big chubby. It's fucking great to see. Anyway, I hope this helps some people out, inspires them. This is the end goal. When you build an army, this is what you want to end up with. You want to end up with something like this that you can look at with pride and say, I'm really happy that I made that. I'm Mac with the Outer Circle. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.